Hi. You can do the
Hey.
intro today, Chris. Do it. It's all you, brother.
Hey, it's me and Neil. We're here to talk about more leveling up stuff. Welcome back. It's Wednesday afternoon, and Neil and I, it's our second week of having, and now as you can probably tell, I got better video and better audio this time around so people can actually hear me. So,
And your eyes are not dilated. You came from the eye doctor, and you looked like you were under the influence of Mary Jane.
yes. So now instead of my eyes being dilated now, just with this really good camera, they just look, intoxicating. So, so Neil and I are talking about posts that have come up in the last week or so, as well as kind of a direction that we want to take the show based on feedback. Because I put a post up a few days ago, and a lot of people had some really awesome feedback. They got Neil and I talking offline about how to kind of cater it to everyone's needs. What did you take away from that, Neil? What was your sense of what the people want?
Well, I think we're in sync. There was a Frederick, God bless you if you're watching it, really wanted to talk about kind of all things tech. Then a bunch of people like, you know what? Like he's like tech, and more tech, which, as you know, my first
Here's my tech. Here's my recruiter juice, by the way. That's my
that's my sweet. I'm drinking a nice flavored seltzer, but I think that's in New York, right? It's not clubs, it's seltzer in New York. And a bunch of people are like, nah, we're sick of tech. We get plenty of tech. But, as you and I talked about, no, the groups, the tech is, like we were saying, like if people want to know about Luxo or Crelate, right? What do we say? Like you say, yeah, use it. It's great. Yeah, it does. It sources it, and it's right.
It's as high level as the conversations about like fees and stuff where people are like, I charge this and here's my guarantee. I charge this. There's no context. So when people are like, I like this system, I like that system, but why? Right. And yeah, so that point, and then we were talking about it more and realized that, the workflow and the techniques and their intersection with the technology is probably where like the most value is, right? Like not talk about tech just for the sake of talking about tech, but talk about tech that makes a recruiter's life easier, like improves the workflow, stuff that's easy to use, stuff that enhances the process, makes your life easier, not stuff that just is neat and, I use this because I saw a promo,
Yeah, you know what? It's like the shows that you see on the web, on the net. I was talking to Chris on the internet. Like I'm 100 years old. I'm super techie, right? I love I love learning about new products by cutting to the chase. I don't want to demo and download all these things. Some things you can't even demo. I want to go to a place where I get that 10-minute video and the pros and cons and the task and this versus that and that's what we're going to bring to everyone. And I love it. I'm so techie. I love all the gadgets. I play with everything. I'm an AppSumo junkie. We'll talk about that in a minute.
That's a great resource, by the way, that I knew of. But then when you told me about, I think it was InVideo. That's the first time I played around with it because you told everybody about a great promo like a year ago or something.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting like, I don't know, like a lifetime subscription for like $30 or something crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I was like, I don't know why you wouldn't be on that site every morning looking for
I go on and it changes so much. I'm on AppSumo. Those of you who don't know it, there's about 5 main websites for apps that are lifetime deals or very special, ridiculously discounted deals that they do it to get buzz, word of mouth. They get it to get their initial users. And like Dub, which we'll talk about that on one of these days. Like Dub was on there. Like Dub charges like $50 a month, which is what I pay for it. On AppSumo, it was $39 lifetime deal. And crazy. Like in 1 month you're already ahead. And I've been paying for Dub for 2 years, right? So I'm already up to $1,000. We've been $39. It's one of the top sites for latest and greatest apps. The newest. They're not necessarily the greatest, the latest. Let's say that. And there's some things you're not going to want to mess with. There's other things that are great. We're going to talk about some of them here. But again, just the ones that I play with that I love that are indispensable. So everyone check it out. AppSumo, AppSumo.
Well, and that's good. That's a good resource when somebody doesn't want to necessarily, like, either if you're on a tight budget or, quite frankly, I don't like to spend any more money than I have to. So, like, tight budget or not, even if I have a tremendous month, like, if something, I don't want to pay $20 for something if I don't get $20 of value out of it. So, having the access to the sites like you're talking about and watching them and maybe testing some of these products at like low risk to yourself at low cost, it matters no matter how experienced you are, how robust you are, how much.
Yeah, they're wonderful. And what we're going to do for everyone is, so back to the point on like on an ATS. Yeah, I agree. It's beaten to death. And on these groups, I mean,
which ATS is the best? Everybody chimes in. With
nobody
learns anything.
Right, but they don't research. Like the same questions asked day in, and like between all the groups, that comes up 5 times a week. I feel like writing, read the thread, but everyone's still whatever. The same people keep responding 100 times, whether it's Luxo or Creedlight or I use PC Recruiter. We're gonna at times bring people on who use it. We're gonna show it to you. Like this is what Creedlight looks like. Here's why people migrated to it. Here's what we think about it. Here's the bottom line.
Here's what it integrates with. Here's a feature that somebody like can't live without, and that's why they use it over something else. I love how the list function works, or I love how it integrates with this, that, or the other thing. That's real value, because I mean we don't get into it in the discussions because like you said, again, people chime in, I use this site, I use that site, I use that site. And it's not people asking the question, yeah, they could research, but what would happen is if they found that those old threads, all they'd still find is I use this, I use that, I use that. But like we really want to dive into why. Why does it work?
Totally. My tech stack alone, and it's not going to be about me at all. We could spend a couple of months on just going through my tech stack one by one. So we won't do that. My point is, everyone has their tech stack. Well, not everyone does, or everyone has maybe a small one. There's just an unbelievable opportunity for us to provide value to you with what's state of the art, what's trending. And it's not just even tech. Like there's this great tool that I love that, you might see it on Facebook ads. It's a company called Thanks. I don't know if you've seen it, THNKS.
I don't think I know that one.
Love it. I'm addicted to it. And I have some of these are our thank you programs. Client, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like send out cards would try to do, that was kind of corny, but like
the send out card,
that kind of thing.
Multi-level marketing send out cards, that one.
Yeah, that thing was ridiculous. But you know what I'm talking? Yeah, those little thank you programs. Yeah.
Well, so they've got a lot of things like that do direct mail that are really cool. And we'll talk about those and some things. Postalytics, there's a bunch of really cool ones. Thanks, just as an aside, THNKS. Super cool. Like for less than 10% above what the cost of, they have an entire library, no cost to set up. Wonderful, easy website. Like I get your email address, Chris, and your name, and I pick whatever. Like we're sending them out now, like to all my great clients, people that if there's any problems, people that I just so appreciate. Instead of thinking, I'm so happy to have them as a client, I send them a thanks. A gift basket of chocolate for $65. A thanks a latte, which is
some of that automated too? Because remembering to do that stuff is really like the hard part, I think. Like, can you set it up to remember to do some of that stuff for you?
So thanks isn't. What I like about it is I'm keeping that because it's very cool how they package it. It's very cool how it goes out. They're a small boutique company. I met with the owners to really go through everything. Their point of difference is they have a person on site that's going to make sure that your recipient opens it. They'll follow up with them. That they got a gift, did you check it out?
Process server.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Nice.
So there are ones who automate. I'm all into all those things, and they're great. And there's wonderful tools you can add on to your CRMs, your ATSs, and you can automate them lots of different ways. So again, thanks. No, I just love it because the thanks a latte for $6, it's an amazing thank you and a great way to, again, if people enjoy, I do it to some of my staff. It's just a nice, people love it. It's nice,
Nice.
So there are so many things like that. Different processes, different tools that everyone's using.
Well, one of the things I want to touch on today on that topic to kind of kick that off is it relates to like the workflow and like making your life easier and all that. I've seen a couple of posts related to it lately, and I've chimed in on a few. I use Trello. I'm a big fan. You use Monday, and if you think about it, recruiting is project management, 100%, right? So you get a requirement from beginning of the life cycle to end of the life cycle, right? So project management software it was years before I really made this connection. And at first I started playing around with that stuff because my tech clients used it, like Slack and all these other things. I'm like, oh, I should use these things. And I'm like, wait, I should be using these things in my own business, right? And the way I came about getting to something like Trello started off one way and kind of just expanded. So I'm an old school whiteboard guy, right? So like I got whiteboards. I have the magnetic whiteboards.
Do you still have them? Do you still have them?
I still have one, but like, so I can't help it. I still got to look at it. I still got it in front of me. So I have company names, candidate names, and I would just move them in different columns, submitted, interviewing, waiting for feedback, place, et cetera, right? Try to move stuff across that board every day, try to move things down the field, right?
Yeah.
So then when I started having like a virtual assistant and I started having like a couple people that didn't work in the office, I was like, how can I make like a virtual version of this board? Right. And at first I stumbled across Trello and I was like, oh, I like this. You can move cards along and have different statuses. Like, that's neat. And then I realized there was so much more to it. And, and then it became a great management tool for I had a few recruiters working for me, and I didn't have to check in with them as much or have as many emails getting exchanged because we were also using Slack, by the way, for workspaces. And I had it integrated, Trello integrated with Slack. So when someone moved, so when somebody moved a card, I got a notification on my Slack feed on my phone. I didn't even have to ask them where they were at with things because I could just tell by looking at the board. And then I realized there was Google Drive Connect integration. There was, it connects with so many things. Trello, and you could talk about Monday, and it's probably got a lot of similarities. But it helped me manage like the staff easier, and I didn't have to check in. We didn't exchange nearly as many emails internally. I started using it with clients too, right? So you don't want to show them your ATS. You don't want to show them stuff like in your system. But if you throw together a Trello board for a project you're working on, like I have this one client that I'm working on several different projects with. And instead of putting together a project tracker or a report for them, when we have our weekly meeting, I just pull up the Trello board that's shared with them. And like, here's where we're at with everything. Here's the stages we're at. And you can take a look at the notes.
It's a great idea. I have certain vendors that do that for me. And it's amazing. Like, totally, recruiters should be doing that. To really.
And the mobile app is fantastic, by the way. The mobile app is tremendous.
Yep. So, on a show, as an example, we'll talk about Trello, but we'll show you screenshots. We'll go into it.
Yeah.
And you could play it like you could do, like, they all charge monthly fees now. They can get expensive-ish, but still well worth it. They're still cheap.
It depends on the power-ups and stuff, like with Trello. Like, you can actually use a free version if you're only using like one power-up and you only have a certain number of users. Yeah, but like, you really get a lot out of it. Yeah.
They tease me on all these freebies, and I know they tease me. Even if they allow 2 users, and I'm gonna use, let's say, me and my marketing guy. I want that org chart. I want the waterfall chart. I don't want to be locked. I want it to populate in a calendar view, even though that's extra. So for $5 a month, and they add up. You do get what you pay for. They're not idiots when they create these SaaS products. But you all need to be using a project management tool. Now, there's the three.
It's great for working with VAs too. It's fantastic for working with a virtual assistant. I just line up the tasks, and then they just knock them out, and And I love communicating about a project on that card. So you don't have, all those email threads you have where they started on one topic, then people start talking about something else, and then you try to go back in your email and search for something, and it was in a different thread or a different subject line. Having the conversations about that project on that card makes it so much easier.
Smart. In AppsUmo, you'll see 3 or 4 of them. Now, I played with them because I'm not married to you'll see the project management ones. There's a Busy Bee. There's like 3 of them right now. If you search on, and I played with a lot of them. Some of them are really great. However, I do like a lot of the integrations. And at the end of the day, Monday for me, I played with all of them. You got Trello, you got Monday, you got Asana. Right? Those will be the 3.
Those are the big ones,
right? The 3 gigantic ones. And frankly, I found them. I'm a little bit of a snob with the tech. So it's not just functionality.
You're a little bit of a snob, period.
Am I? Do I come across how I do? Don't I? No, I'm joking.
You're fancy, that's all.
Fancy. Yeah, what a blush is going to be. You're bon vivant. I used to wear like whatever. I don't know. Anyway, bon vivant. They're like, who says that? You're a bon vivant. I'm like, all right. I like a good user interface, and Trello and Asana and Monday all have a really nice one. I'd say you'd want to check them all out. They all have pros and cons. I love the move. I love the Trello steps that they do, but I find it's lacking also. And what I like is I use Monday not just for one application or one setting, like using it for a couple of them. I use it for a marketing team. I'm using it for an internal assistant. I'm using it for I've been using it for a sales team. And Monday,
it's my to-do list too.
What's that?
It's my to-do list too. I got like a whole separate board that's just stuff I got to get done, house projects, everything else.
And in the future, we'll show screenshots and stuff. What's really cool about Monday is they have these great built-in, and Asana does too, but I love the, and I play with Asana, and then I aborted it finally for Monday. It's also what my business partner really wanted to use. Well, I'll say this. We use Asana at Boss for our tech support and running tickets, because it's really has neat things for really keeping it on top of these micro tasks that you need to do. Monday,
so like ticket management type of.
It is a much better way. Like it's not. People use it as a service ticketing system, right?
Right.
Even though it's not. It's just like the others, but it's much more flexible that way. So we use that as the ticketing system, and that's really my support behind the scenes group. And I use with marketing the other one, Monday, because there's these great built-in templates. That is like we're going through a whole brand. Boom, it's got a new brand template. And boom, it populates it with hiring the designer, reviewing the thing, second deadlines, timeframes, drag it over here. And
you got a template for all the stuff in that project, and it just drops it right in.
Populates all the stuff. And then, you fill in things that are missing. Logo design template.
Right. So like if you had, like when I use it with external clients, if I had a particular type of project and it had a particular type of tasks, like I would just create a new board or whatever, load that template, and then just put that in front of the client. It's ready to start. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love built-in templates where I don't have to recreate. Like on my CRM, I love when I get a template to start with, and then I can change it. I create it from scratch. I'm techie. I love doing that stuff, but I much more love my much good English speak I today. I love the templates in Monday. And Asana's got them too. It's just not nearly as many. It's like, but different strokes for different folks. Those are the differences between the three. You need to be using one or something off of AppSumo. Again, you don't want to spend $15 a month, 3 people. It's still $350 a year. I get that. It was, every salesperson could. I love this. It's only $9 a month. I'm like, the problem with that, genius, is I've got 100 of those.
Yeah.
So you gotta.
Just like streaming services, you cut the cord on cable, and then every streaming service is, hey, it's only $15 a month. And next thing you know, you're like, look at all my apps. I'm paying fucking 3 times as much as I did for cable.
Right.
I got every app under this time.
Yeah. They get you in the upgrades. Though I did cut cords, but that's a whole other story. So, it
would be cool though to take a look at that on a show because like as a user of one of those platforms, I'm very curious to take a look at a couple of the other ones. So being able to, pull that up, and I can be like, hey, here's the inside of Trello. And you'd be like, oh, hey, here's the inside of Monday. Like,
Yeah. And we could switch accounts. That's what we'll do in like the future, because, and they have different notifications. So it's when you're working with a team and you have different people on it, like Monday was the best way to comment on stuff, have it come into the inbox nicely, be able to quickly reply in the link. Now, Asana does it, and they all do it. Trello, the least, in my opinion, over its nice ease of multi-user communication, and Asana really good too, but Monday is that's what got me. Those two things is what got me on Monday. And I think I liked the website initially too, but no, Asana and Monday and Trello, they sync with almost everything. They all sync with Zapier, so it's
which pretty much syncs with everything. That's what it's there for. Yeah.
Right. Not native, but it's wonderful. And so we'll make sure people know how to use Zapier, and they're really integrating with it. But, I'm excited to talk about tons of things. What we'd like for those of you watching now or later on a replay, please put down here what tech you want to know about. And we'll put out, Chris, maybe I'll do some reminders. We're going to let you know what the shows are going to be in the future, so you know when to tune in or not. Thank you, Frederick, on that one. But give us an idea if there's anything in particular. Like this one we just wanted to talk about because offline, Chris and I were talking about Trello. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Monday guy.
Okay, let's talk about that today.
Yeah, and that's our show. That's what we do.
And the other thing too is I think that, applicant tracking systems / CRMs, we could probably spend, that could be a multi-chapter, that could be a whole mini series really, because there's a bunch that can be explored. And it would be really interesting to hear from some people that use them and can get on and be like, here's what I like, here's what I like.
I mean? For that one, yeah, we talked about this. I think for that one, what we'll do is we'll have an extended show. We're not going to want to do it week after week. You guys get sick of it. We'll have an extended show. We'll bring on 4 or 5 people with the top 5. They'll have their screen share. We'll go through. We'll talk about the pros and cons, and we'll give you like our take from what we understand and from what we hear. Good news on my front. The ATSs, that I'm not recruiting anymore. I haven't played with a ton, but I've played with like every CRM before I went over to HubSpot. And I was in Infusionsoft and and Zoho and you name it. So and they all have pros and cons to it. So yeah, someone's putting down Trello on Monday.com. Asana is the other one. That would be Asana.com. I love it. Monday.com. How is that? How did they get that URL? Right? You would think that would be taken, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was just maybe they based the name of the company on the fact that they were able to get that URL. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find that out. Well, the other thing that's kind of cool too about yes, this is about tech, but it's also about running a recruiting business, right? And I think that if somebody took anything away from this particular live is that recruiting is project management. And that's why a project management tool is something you should be using. And it's something that can connect to all the other tools that you're using and help you kind of be your dashboard to just have a sense for everything that's going on, whether it's just you or whether you're collaborating with customers or whether you've got a team you're working with.
We've got all the LinkedIn automation, big 3 or 4 that people want. You then have automation on LinkedIn that then transmits data and imports it into your CRM, 2 different total products and reasons for you to have it. Again, we've got the Zapier and lots of integrations. You've got, it's nonstop. You got virtual phone systems. There's just so many things that
phone systems are another interesting one to touch on.
Totally. Absolutely. I've been through all the major 15 of them. I know inside out at this point because we've been picking on it. And it's amazing how there is not one perfect solution. Not to do a commercial and back office staffing solutions, but that's how it was born. It was really that. It's saying, God, this one does this really cool. Well, they don't do this, or we don't do that. Well, this one we don't do that, but we do this. And it's like not one person offered all of us. So we're like, ding, boss can do all that, and that's
your opportunity,
right? But it's the same thing. Like with the phone systems, I'm amazed that there's not one that does all of the things. And one might integrate great with the top 20 CRMs or ATSs, but it's got horrible call whispering or barging or advanced features, or it does a pay per minute fee on top of it, not unlimited, or the user interface just stinks. And for me at Boss, we're super techie. We're like an Apple kind of company. We can't have an internal tool that looks like that. It sounds snobby,
No, it's counter to your culture. It's not right. You can't. If you're going to operate a certain way, you're going to have a certain type of business, and this is your philosophy about how things should be and what you want to do for your customers. You can't have a tool that's the antithesis of that, because then it's undermining.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's like an internal branding thing, because at the end of the day, I can get over a bad UI. You're right, the user interface, but I don't know that I can. It makes the whole product feel worse. But again,
there's so many options. I feel like you don't have to. You shouldn't have to. Because there's so many options.
It's amazing how there's one company and they gave me a video and I didn't do the demo and I loved all the features and the price was right. And I signed a 1-year contract like an idiot. Just like, I'm done. I'm there. You sold me wonderful work. You call me at night. And I got onto this thing. I'm like, what was this thing built 12 years ago? It looked like DOS was controlling it, And even on the web page, when I finally got into the portal, because I can't do demos, it was copyright 2012, 2014. I'm like, what? You can't even go to your. I knew it. You can't even go there. And the video they made was using whatever. They hired a company to make a beautiful looking video, nothing like the product. So I canceled it. And
That reminds me, when I was in graduate school, I worked in a nanotech facility that was affiliated with the college that was like still like brand new. It was super cutting edge semiconductors, chips, like all this R&D partnership with IBM and all these big players in that space. And when I was an intern there in my MBA program, I sit down at my desk and the computer is running Office 97 like Office 97 or Windows 95, Office 97. And this was like 2004. And I was like, aren't we like cutting edge? Like you guys are doing crazy stuff with like lasers and semiconductors like right next door. And I have Office 97 right here.
Crazy. In their defense, during those years, it was like $1,200 a license or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, they had academic licenses though, so.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But then again, also academia moves slowly and government moves slowly too. So but it was just funny. So that's the kind of experience an employee has. So if they're working at your company, Neil, and you're espousing all these virtues of like the types of technology you want to provide to customers, and then they log into a system and they're like, "What is this crap?" Like he's not practicing what he preaches. So that consistency.
Yeah, and it's why I went from Infusionsoft, which has like the best price point for what it does, and like it's so unbelievably effective at what it does, but so complicated and user unfriendly. Now I've used it for like 8 years, so I have the thing mastered, but it wasn't working for any of my Salesforce or internal team. It was like, hey, it looks clunky, but I mean, that thing was fine tuned in the back. It was like having that great and insert your year of a vehicle that'll sound like I'm real man, but I have no idea what that is. So like a 59 Chevy, I don't know. Malibu, I don't have no idea, right? You know, those guys are like, no, 59 was a bad year for the whatever, right? Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Me either.
Yeah. I thought you might be. No, you're too pretty.
No, I put a higher. I lean towards large SUVs that rip through the snow with ease, have a lot of power, so I can zip down the highway and bear down on people and they get out of my way. And it's loaded with luxury features. I value comfort.
Me too.
More than
I did. Yeah, me too.
My car doesn't need muscle. The muscle, I'm just like, listen, I don't want to work that hard. So I want the comfort, whatever. To each their own.
Well, look, I'm into gadgets. So same deal. So anyway, we'd love to hear from you. If not, we got plenty to keep you interested. We're going to keep this show short and sweet, half hour. Show's over, right? We're not going to talk. We're not going to have the bromance. I mean, people said, too much banter. Hey, look, there's plenty of shows with banter. Catch me every Friday with Dave.
Yes.
Headhunters at Box.
We got all the bromance you need right there.
Right. We got bromance. We've got tons of great content and training. This isn't that show. This is going to be a great, quick show. Things that'll really help you be productive. And we look forward to doing it ongoing for you. Hope you love it. And Chris, any final words on your end?
No, see you next Wednesday, and make sure that you comment with ideas on what you want to hear about, tools you want to hear about, specific tools you've heard about, types of tools you're interested, or even like problems, challenges in running your recruiting business that you're wondering if there's a tool that helps with that. Because we can look into that too. Like instead of starting with the technology, you can also start with the problem. Hey, I really wish there was something that did this. Well, there might be, and we can go find it and we can talk about it.
Love it. So as they say, with the crazy kids I hear nowadays, be there or
be square. Or like in Pulp Fiction where she draws the square.
Yeah. Love it.
Don't be a.
Bye, everyone.
Right. See you later.